Yeah.
All right, let me.
All right, react, Orangey, react.
No, but I'm making a point of like.
I think the middle ground here is. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Between Two Layers. If you're liking this content, please do subscribe, comment, like. We love reading the comments, so please do engage with us. Over with pro gamer Orangey and Game Fund Partners founder Jonah Blake. Joining me now, I have Jonah Blake. He is the founder of media company and investment firm Game Fund Partners. And we have Orangey, pro gamer. You, like me, may know him from Dookie Dash, but man has been playing games and building a following for quite some time now. So Orangey, Jonah, thank you both so much for joining us on Between Two Layers. I'm really excited to have this conversation.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's great to be here, and a big fan of your show. Watch a lot of your clips.
Oh, Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, I'm so excited to have this convo because I really want to get at like what is the state of nation in Web3 but really Web3 gaming from a player's perspective. And you both are very engrossed in this space. So let's start there. Like, how would each of you summarize what you see as the current state of the nation in Web3 gaming? And I'll give the tee up to this as I felt like there was this moment at the beginning of this year when you had like Dr. Disrespect tweeting about things. You had the Dookie Dash success. You had GDC, which we've talked about on the show before. I went to that, where it felt like maybe we were on the precipice of some real movement in Web3 gaming. And now it feels like things have just quieted down. Now, maybe that's more my perspective. I know there's a lot still happening at Immutable that we cover on this show, but in the bigger picture, it feels like maybe we're hearing a little bit less. I would love to hear from your perspectives where we're at. And Jonah, I'll kick it to you. You're first on my screen.
Yeah. I think the phrase I'll use is optimistic but cautious. I'm mixing it from cautiously optimistic because that's usually a negative connotation. And it's not going to be a negative take. I think that there are a lot of people in the West where we're all based, where it has gone, I wouldn't say dark, but people are busy building. There's a lot of projects behind the scenes that are working, but it takes a long time to make games. And we're now seeing a row of media announcements from the East, specifically Japan, where there's a large interest, Japan and Korea, where the biggest companies in all of gaming are there, and they are announcing games. So at the time of this recording, I know last week, Konami, I think it's Konami, had a whole presentation and press about their game. I think it's Arc something. Square Enix has not given up yet, although I think they have some issues, but in general, they haven't given up, and we'll see where that goes. There's several other studios in Japan that I know are releasing games over the next 3 months. We had several MMOs that went out. One of them was Grand Saga. I think that was a great first test, but Asia is doing really well. I know there are parts of India that are looking at this, although India and crypto is still kind of rocky. They're very strict there. And in general, you've got the Ronin network, which is the Axie Infinity people. They are onboarding multiple games. I know they just onboarded one. They're onboarding another. And they made it very clear that they're on the warpath of acquiring more titles for their network. So overall, I think it's great. Is the press good? Like, for example, Creator League and CDOG?
Creator League.
No, we can talk about
the
that.
The obvious one to bring up.
I know a fair bit about that. But I think it takes a lot of time. I mean, one, there has been a lot of grifters and scammers, even in gaming. And as these gaming tokens come about and a lot of stuff, whether it's good or bad, play to earn, we're going to see a lot more scams. As gaming becomes one of the main product focuses of crypto, you're going to see a ton of other scammers. It's going to be like wildfire, the amount of grifters that come out of nowhere. And for a time, it's going to be tough for a normal YouTuber crowd. But honestly, they're right in a lot of cases. So I don't blame them for feeling the way they do.
I have a few follow-ups for you, but first I want to hear from Orangey. I know you had a tweet the other day, sort of lamenting your attempts to find a home in, I feel like, a Web3 game outside of Dookie Dash, but would just be really curious to hear your take on all of this.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I got introduced to Web3 gaming like via Yuga Lab, so everything I do is pretty much like in that little small. Well, I mean, I'd say that they're the biggest ecosystem, but there's like a ton other Web3 gaming studios and like ecosystems out there, such as Ronin, I guess. But again, I'm only involved in Yuga, so like my opinions are Yuga based only, as I think they have like the best chance to succeed just because of like the funding they have in the team. until I get proven wrong and like another team comes out with a banger game that everyone wants to play.
So what is your feeling? Like, how would you rate how Yuga is doing? Do you feel like they're on the right path? Do you have feedback for Yuga that you'd like to share here on this podcast?
I mean, yeah, I mean, they're doing their thing and like they're working on the other side, which is, going to be really big and stuff. As far as like what they're currently putting out, it's a gamified mint experience, not really like a so-called game. So, it's just not my cup of tea, but to others, they seem to really enjoy it. So, yeah.
They're obviously doing this. The big whale here is Other Side, which is this massive swing that they're taking. And in the meantime, they have these more casual games that they're going to drip out for however long they're going to drip it out, presumably to keep people, occupied before Other Side in some ways able to launch. Do you like that strategy? Are you into the casual gaming approach?
Well, I feel like Dookie Dash was one of those games, right? Like one of those mini games that they were just had in order to, elongate their process and buy some time. But then like the shift from Dookie Dash to what we've seen so far has been a very big difference. But
in what
I guess you
way?
have to appeal actual gameplay, I guess. Like it's just completely different genres. But they have a big collection, like tons of collectors, and they have to appeal to a bunch of different gamers. So I guess Dookie Dash was fun to me. It wasn't so fun to others, and I guess I'm just in that others now.
Now they're releasing games. You're like, this is not my cup of tea, but Dookie Dash wasn't other people's cup of tea. Very magnanimous. Jonah, I see you smiling. Would you like to weigh in on any of this?
I'm kind of renowned on Twitter, or what is it, X now, for my opinions.
Yeah. You're infamous.
Infamous, famous, depends. It's all
depends on who you are.
All right, let me start with the positives. How about that? I'll be a positive person for a minute. What Yuga's doing is incredibly hard. Like, it is so hard to do what they're doing. And some of it is novel. So like the parts that I wish they would focus more on, but they didn't because they, I guess for whatever reason, is this physical merch activation through games. Like that's something that is genuinely novel. The idea, like the codependence. So people don't know, they came out with these codependents. He's going to show it. There you go. So you got and
to be clear, that's Coda space pendants.
Exactly.
The Coda are like a famous character in Other Side and on the land, not codependents.
Right. So what was really cool was that you could team up with like a Gucci, Prada, Louis Vuitton, whatever it is. And you could say, we're going to build an item in our universe and it's going to have significant value both in the gameplay and cosmetically in the game. And that is really cool because that's the closest thing to the metaverse is like, hey, I got a Rolex. And it turns out this Rolex shoots like lasers out of its wrist when you're playing Fortnite. Like that is something that is novel and unique because I'm going to wear the Rolex anyway because it's a cool Rolex. But like that Rolex also happened to give me some value in a game. That is novel. And I think you should really do more of that because that made me believe that they actually had an idea here. The biggest problem they have is they don't have, I think maybe now they do. And I only hear what people tell me. I don't know the truth of anything, right? I have no evidence to anything. But they really didn't have an understanding of their back end at a deep level because they didn't own their own stack. And so you see news.
They were working with Improbable.
Right.
But which has now, it seems
Supposedly.
like maybe that partnership has ended. We don't know for sure.
Based on whatever's public, so this is not me speculating, it's all public. Herman Narula in a Discord DM said, I didn't even know. So it's like, this is the guy who
I didn't even know.
Nothing.
Herman Narula being the CEO of Improbable.
Yeah, the founder and CEO. He didn't even know that Hadian was coming on to do this. And Hadian is his direct competitor. You can look up on Google, look up Hadian deck. For whatever reason, there's a public deck. It shows exactly the stuff that Improbable does. So, it's like, one, it takes probably 5 to 7 years to make an MMO, if you're even lucky to have a successful one. And it's been about 2 years of building. Maybe a year and 3/4. And to switch the stack now is going to be a big problem. That's probably going to set them back unless they have some onboarding solution that we don't know about, right? So one is getting your ducks in a row. 2 is Yuga's specialty, which they call themselves being a community as a service company, is about licensing their IP to other games in order to drive traffic to their games.
let's bounce between positives and negatives here. Let me put this question to you both. Are there any games that you are really looking forward to that are coming out soon, whether they're in beta now, they're being teased? What's getting you excited? Jonah, I'll start with you.
So a game that I'm personally excited about because I like FPS, one Doc's game, and I think Doc's game is has a long way to go before it's ready. Another game is called Shrapnel. It's a little similar. It's on AVAX. I love Parallel, and that's on Coinbase. It's fantastic.
Yeah, that's on base.
Man, there's a lot. You only have 30 minutes, right? So it's like I can talk about why each one works or why it couldn't work. Then I'm really excited about. We just actually put out a video today at the time of this recording. Pudgy Penguins, their game. We had the privilege of playing much earlier, and it's not about the game itself that's interesting. Right. It's about a lot of companies, including Yuga, want to build these experiences in which you can take your love of an IP and make it playable through we call this mini clip. So when I was in middle school, you had like Bloons Tower Defense, you had like Stick-A-Man. Like these were very middle school games I played, and you played on PC in the library instead of reading, right? That's probably why I'm a media person instead of a scientist. I was playing games. So these are very quick games, and it's just about making you feel good about the thing you bought or that you're a part of. So I love the idea of the Pudgy Penguins having these toys you buy at now announced Walmart. And, a 3 or 4-year-old does not need to play Call of Duty, right? So,
in fact, I would actually strongly prefer that they don't play Call of Duty.
So what I mean is my excitement is something that looks like Call of Duty, but for a kid who is going to grow up with this thing, their version of excitement is like a Roblox maze builder or like Bloons Tower Defense, but a penguin. And I think that's really cool. And right now I think Pudgy's doing it better than Yuga, but I think Yuga could do it well, but that's a whole other topic on things. So what will probably happen is the game I'm least excited about or don't see coming will be the one that's a big success.
Yes. Yeah. It'll be the one that takes us by surprise. Orangey, what do you think needs to happen for a good game? I'd love to get both your advice, but I want to start with you, Orangey. Like your advice for games. Like you said, Dookie Dash was your type of game, but some of the other ones that you guys come out with aren't. What's missing in the landscape right now to you?
Yeah. I mean, Jonah touched upon Shrapnel, and actually, I forgot completely about that game. And I was pretty excited for them, but I recently saw they got some limitations in the US, right? And they won't be able to actually do their whole play to earn model, which is kind of what people are most excited for, and especially in a shooter. Again, I'm more of an FPS reaction time. I'm Gen Z, our attention spans are very short. I'm not here to play a card game. It's why I cannot touch Parallel. That game is not for me. I don't know. We just need something that anyone can pick up. It's super easy to get into, and you just play. And there's a lot of there's got to be a high skill ceiling. And there's got to be a lot to do.
Jonah, same question to you. I mean, what would you say is needed to help the whole market move forward and find success?
Mobile games for one. Mobile games and some web-based games, because, and this is where I understand Orangey's disappointment, but also where I'm going to explain why the future of Web3 is probably not what Orangey's going to like. And I'd like to hear his take here.
Ooh, I like this.
I'm going to say an example. Not all of Gen Z is totally fried. They are, statistically. And I'm in between. I'm a 95 baby. So I'm born in the year that we transitioned. So I see both sides. Statistically, based on data, the most popular Roblox game in the top 10 is a game called Pet Adopt, or Adopt Pet. It's a pet adoption game. This game makes $20 million plus a year, okay, on Roblox. There's no shooting, there's no killing, there's no running and race car driving. It is a game where you log in on Roblox, you find a pet you like, you talk about it with your friends. Actually, a lot of girls play it, and you try and get the best pet and you take care of it. And then there's little mini games, right? This is more popular than another game on Roblox, which is called, I think, Bloodlines or something. And it is a Call of Duty FPS game. And you can see this in the charts. And so there is a lot of kids who come from Fortnite, Orangey being one of them. In fact, one of the top in Fortnite. I give him credit to that. Where, first of all, I would be destroyed. I'm not good at it. Where their perception of what a good game is, and this includes YouTube, right? Their perception of what a successful game is not the perception of what a 4-year-old girl or a 45-year-old mom is.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
and this is really like the Zynga Farmville
Right.
dynamic on repeat, which is everyone in the gaming world being like, this isn't a game. And then, 45-year-old suburban moms were addicted to Farmville.
Well, I think there's this perception, and so I make YouTube videos. So I sit in this weird trifecta of understanding like each side, and I try to like balance it out to my chagrin, right? YouTubers to this day do not cover mobile content, mobile games. The ones who do are specifically mobile channels, and they always get laughed at by the actual big channels, right? Your Asmongold's of the world. These are your big channels. And so the reason why we have a different perception on what a success is because they're hitting the algorithm better, right? Like Asmongold on YouTube is getting more data points on the main viewer than a mobile game channel. But a mobile game channel, while they're not discovered at a high rate, they have much deeper penetration. So they're able to sell more product, they make more money on average, and while they have a smaller viewer base, they have a more committed viewer base, which is why advertisers love paying them a lot of money, which is the same thing could be for Web3. Web3 has a small audience right now. They're very specifically into merch, fashion goods, hype beast culture, and physical events. These are people that are more similar to mobile gamers than they are to console gamers. And what I fear for people like Orangey, and I think, by the way, I'm going to give a positive at the end where I think you'll be saved here, is that the first success in Web3 will not be something that looks like Fortnite or Call of Duty, and it may not even look like Parallel. It's going to be some stupid game that's like pet the dog and get a coin, and it'll get like millions and millions of views and millions of dollars. It'll become a meme on the App Store, right? It's just like Steppen. Last year, Steppen became a viral hit. Most people in Orangey's category would not call that a game, but young kids and moms in their 40s both found that to be a very enjoyable game that made millions of dollars. Now, it had some problems, which is why it's gone down, right? There's a fundamental issue. But I just worry that people that are Fortnite experts like Orangey are going to not enjoy this industry because it's not inherently built for them. And the types of games they want cost at least $200 million.
Is the save that in the long tail we will get those Fortnite-like games in Web3? It's just going to take longer. It will come after it's proven itself.
Yeah. All right, let me.
All right, react, Orangey, react. Hop in.
All right,
hop in.
Jonah.
Yeah.
I play a ton of Roblox. I mean, I grew up with Roblox. I still play Roblox. Like, it's the game that my younger cousins and stuff play. You spoke about the number one game on Roblox. It's like Adopt Me, and I've played it. And then you look at the other 9 games, and yeah, they're not shooters, whatever, but it's like haunted houses. They're thrilling games that when you watch a creator, you feel an emotional attachment to. Roblox has so many games that can appeal to so many types of people, like the horror games, the speedrun games, like the tycoon games even. They're stupid, but you can make content. There's a storyline behind it. You can watch a Twitch streamer and kind of follow and fall in love with what they're building. And I just feel like in all these games that we've seen so far, you can't. Maybe Parallel, you can fall in love with someone going from a really bad player to winning the Parallel World Cup if that ever happens. Mm-hmm. But
so that's a great point. So you're saying your advice perhaps to these Web3 game manufacturers who are around right now, makers, is make something that's entertaining to watch a streamer play, and that there's really a dearth of that right now. And I think the cliche that I hear a lot is, well, we need fun games, but that's a little bit too okay, no shit, we need fun games. And you're going, I think, one layer deeper by being make it a streamable game, make it something that I want to watch other people play and that I can get eyeballs making me play. I like that insight a lot.
Yeah, 100%. You need something where I'm scrolling through TikTok and I'm watching someone play something I've never seen before. I'm like, damn, this is pretty cool. And the last time that ever happened was Fall Guys. That was the last time it ever happened. I was scrolling on TikTok, I saw Fall Guys. It looked fun, cartoony. Guys were laughing with all their friends. Hosting Fall Guys nights at their houses and just playing online. And that was the last time that something like that has happened. And Fall Guys was super successful.
So you're now in a predicament. Can I elaborate?
Yes, elaborate.
Okay, so here's the predicament you have, and it's the fun versus earn, and the balance of that. And so the reason the current Web3 games exist as they do is that they are very well optimized for the earn and speculation game. So for example, Parallel is the perfect game to earn and speculate from because one, the card game industry requires it, right? Because that's how card games work. You keep buying new packs. So there is a way to make money, quote unquote, or get value. A lot of these games are like that. That's why there's so many card games, not just because they're cheaper to make, but they fit really well with blockchain. There are ways to do what you call the genre you're calling is it's party game and social deduction game. And these games are being built. In fact, I'm talking to one right now. I can't say it on recording, but we are potentially helping one come to market. And it has found some ways to add in blockchain. So you will be getting this party games because they know this too. But the problem is most of the people in Web3 are speculators, not players. And to build a party game in Web3, you need both sides to work. You need people to speculate on what assets are worth attaining and make it balanced so that those assets don't destroy the game for the average player. Rec League, I bring it up because I think they were very, very close. And I think this game could be really great if they just were on ETH1 because they realized the best way to do this was have people in Web3 be the assemblers of the mechs and then have Web2 not have that mech assembly feature and then just buy them from the store so they can choose all these different mechs to play. Like that was actually the most innovative, aside from Yuga's physical merchant, that was like the coolest thing I've seen in Web3. And I think other people should try this if they can't figure it out. But you want games that are very short burst and require deep player liquidity, which means they have to be on Roblox and they have to be on Fortnite because I'm not going to my company won't invest $1 million into a company that's going to make a 30-second game, a 2-minute game and not get any return on investment. I would lose my job and so would any other investor. So we're going to tell you to go build them on Roblox or Fortnite for that fact.
Well, yeah. And you're getting at too, I think this conflict of like building for a Web3 audience, which to your point is still the concentration is primarily speculators versus building 100%. A game that can be appealing to a broader audience where maybe the blockchain is abstracted away. So let me start with you, Orangey, and ask this question about sentiment around NFTs and among pro gamers, right? Mm-hmm. NFTs have not been exactly beloved within the gaming community at large. I would say, obviously, what we just saw with the Creator League saga indicates that sentiment is perhaps the lowest it's ever been, or it hasn't gotten better. But I want to hear it from your perspective because I lack a certain nuance in my view of this because I'm not deep within the community. So from your perspective, Orangey, like what is the sentiment right now within pro gaming and among pro gamers about NFTs and blockchain?
Okay. There's a lot of different POVs from this, and I'll start off from my most recent one. Is I just got back into Fortnite. I've been streaming it a ton, and the reason for that is because I can grow my audience there and add value once Web3 gaming is ready. So I've been getting back into it, and I stream. I wear my Bored Ape merch. I got my Bored Ape on the screen at all times. I'm pretty open about talking about crypto, blockchain, Web3, and people come to my TikTok chat, Twitch chat. NFTs are dead. 95% of what NFTs are worthless. Like blah blah blah.
Yeah, spamming you that Forbes article or whatever company it was that put that out. Like, people don't even understand what it is, and they just read media. And then the people who kind of have a little bit of an understanding of it just want to say it's like a scam or just fake internet money, whatever. But when we're talking about the pro side of gaming, here's where things change. When I quit Fortnite, I got into NFTs. I got into NFTs during the bull market, and everyone's just he went off, he quit to get into NFT BS stuff. And then Doogie Dash came out, and this is where all the pros from all these games started coming in because there was an opportunity for them to make way more money than they do playing their AAA game. And the thing is, that was a super unique opportunity because Yuga did not give out a prize pool. There was a zero prize pool. It was a speculative prize pool based on the ecosystem. It was a peer-to-peer prize pool.
It was, yes. Yeah, a whale would pay me to play on their passes so that they could get a high score, so that they could get a better NFT. No one's done a prize pool thing yet. But you get a game, you put $1 million prize pool together, you make it a week-long thing, and everyone's going to be playing it. And $1 million is not that much to the people in this space.
That's not true. All right. So I'm gonna play. All right. This is not the pounce on Orangey space because one, I've worked with Orangey and I like him a lot. But I'm going to tell you the problem with what you just stated and why it actually is hurting Web3 and not helping it. Although the idea of prize pooling is very important, and the best model by far has been Dota 2. So any game of Web3, just copy Dota 2. Just copy it word for word. copy Dota 2, and then copy some of the CSGO and CSGO Marketplace stuff. Let's talk about Dookie Dash. Orange, I'll ask you, who was the winner of Dookie Dash? Who took the $1 million prize?
Mongrel.
How much money to make?
Like 2.2 mil.
Where did that money go?
I don't know. Into a house. He bought shit with it. I don't know.
Has he played any Web3 games since?
No.
So would you say
Okay.
$2.2 million
No, but
just sort of left this ecosystem and didn't bring any players?
But it wasn't Yuga's money. It was peer-to-peer. No one said Yuga.
No, but I'm
money
making a
and
point
make
of like the
storyline.
idea. Well, not necessarily. I mean, yes, that's true. But the whole point of these big prize pools has been, oh, Web2 gamers are not going to deny us because there's just so much money to make here, right?
Well, I
But
think
there hasn't been
right.
a place.
I think the middle
for that.
ground here is, Jonah, you're saying that Dookie Dash specifically maybe wasn't good for NFTs because a bunch of money left the ecosystem and people didn't keep playing in it. Orangey, you're making a broader point, which is that, first of all, a peer-to-peer prize pool model is an interesting one that we haven't seen historically and is potentially replicable. And if there was a broader ecosystem of actually fun and diverse Web3 games around it, that money may have stayed in here. And so I think both things can be true at once, where Dookie Dash specifically, sort of in the vacuum that it was in, maybe wasn't good for the ecosystem in certain ways, but that it's a model for something that could be very interesting moving forward.
And also, like, you can't speak on just one person who's already a multimillionaire, right? Like, Mongrel had millions before.
Should we go to
Dookie Dash.
other case studies?
Yes.
Can you name any Web2 gamers
Yes.
come here other than you, because you're great?
Yes, I can.
Okay, name them. I would like to hear. I want to know the stories.
But from Dookie Dash, like, no one that big came. Like, it was just Mongrel and like a bunch of other like tier 2, tier 3 pros from other games that have stayed.
So they've stayed doing what? I'm curious. Are they
Waiting on Yuga games, playing
so
heavy
they're taking
metal,
guild
grinding
cards.
it.
It seems like an awareness, like there's sort of like an awareness play of like, oh,
Like,
maybe
out
this
of
isn't
the-
all bad.
Out of the 100% of the players that played Dookie Dash, like 30-40% of them stayed. Like, I know because, they're all on my Discord, all Apex pros, all Fortnite pros that are waiting for the next Dookie Dash opportunity.
Well, I think so. First, I'm not opposed to big prize pools, right? Because you need to beat Web2 at their own game, which is audience and big money. That's a cute cat. Big money means a bigger audience, right? Otherwise, Dota 2 wouldn't do their prize pool. But when Dota 2 does their prize pool, no one goes, all right, thanks for the $39 million pool, and we play the event. See you later when you have something.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve. It's just a Band-Aid. It doesn't.
Well, no one did
solve
that
the
with
issue.
Dookie Dash, though. Like, the game ended itself.
Well, you're telling me
it's not that.
Well, again, this is a Yuga problem, right? They don't have a game that is maintaining long enough.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I thought Rec League could have done that. But the problem.
But Rec League is not that good, and there's so many problems with it.
Other than
I was second place for the first week. I quit because it was mentally straining, and the prize wasn't worth it. But I'm the best player in the world at that game.
Right. So
Like,
aside from because
artifacts.
we went over this, I saw your post. You said that the issue were, which they changed from what I understand, was time slots because
Yes.
like you're not going to get up at 3 a.m. to play a game. You're out of your mind.
Yeah, but it changed way too late. Like, it was already a week and a half into the
So you
competition.
think after a week and a half,
care.
it's like it's over? Like after a week and a half?
Bro, after waking up for a week at like 6 a.m., 2 p.m., 10 p.m., yeah. And also, another big reason why I stopped playing was because you mentioned it, the fact that it is on an L1. Do you know how many mechs I had to go through to find
Oh, it's
the perfect
impossible.
one?
That's why I said this is the
Exactly.
issue. You'd be spending $1,000 just to find a
I
right
did
spec.
spend over
there you go.
$1,000 finding a mech.
It's not sustainable.
And,
This game will die if it stays on ETH 1.
and it's not even the best mech in the game.
No.
So, like, I switched my
This game will be dead in a month if it doesn't switch off the ETH 1 or it has a better system for assembling mechs. But that's a whole other topic.
But I spoke to the CEO about that. He said it's in the works.
That's good.
So yeah, what I'm actually taking from this, funny enough, first of all, this is great, is some amount of optimism, which is that there's a certain amount of consensus. It feels like, as much as you guys appear to be, going at each other, like there's a certain amount of consensus about like what needs to be fixed and like what is wrong. And from my perspective, like these feel like fixable things. Like it seems like Rec Lead had some clearly fixable problems that if they had been able to address it sooner, or if it had come out without these problems to begin with, could have had some potential. I think the points that you're making, Orangey, about Dookie Dash are very interesting. And while it didn't work in the way that a Dota 2 works in the current ecosystem, like I said, if you build out a robust ecosystem, suddenly you do have something interesting there. Like, we are where we all know we are, which is like there's like a taunting, right? Like you get these little flashes of something cool, of something potentially great, but we're just not a mature enough market yet for any of it to feel sustained or be sustainable. So let me ask this as like a final question, and then any final thoughts y'all want to contribute, and even if you want to talk about what you're working on, Jonah, like when you look at the year ahead, you look at 2024, we're, you know, entering the last quarter here of 2023. What do you anticipate? What do you either A, want to see, or B, expect to see out of the gaming Web3 world in 2024?
Or you go first and then I'll go.
Okay. This year, I'll talk about gaming as a whole real quick. Gaming as a whole is pretty dead. Like, you go on Twitch, viewership is down for like most games. People are waiting on that next big thing, whether it be like a GTA 6 that hopefully we see next year. If not, oh well. But content is lacking and esports is dying. You know, like teams are shutting down. There's no money. You know, Overwatch League is dead. League of Legends, biggest team, TSM just pulled out. You know, you're like having these teams look for money in places that would have never been in esports start coming in. Like Shopify just bought out LCS team, the Rebellions. Fortnite comp scene is pretty much dead. The World Cup is next month in Copenhagen, Denmark. And prize pool, when you compare it to the last one, is pretty bad as well. So gaming as a whole, this is why I'm into Web3 gaming, by the way, because now I would be playing like Overwatch right now, grinding for. Actually, I wouldn't be playing Overwatch.
I was gonna say, why would you be playing Overwatch?
No. I'd be playing like Rocket League, best comp scene, best, you know, everything. But the truth is, I'm in Web3 gaming because there is such a place for the next Fortnite, which was the latest biggest game. I don't say the next Fortnite because I was a Fortnite pro, because before Fortnite, what was there? I don't know. I wasn't like really. Was it PUBG?
PUBG.
Really?
Well, it came out before. Did it? Yeah, it came out. Yeah.
It was like that next big thing?
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah.
Really?
It was maybe not in America, but in Asia.
Okay.
It was, dude. Like, it's to this day, it has millions of players. Yeah.
What about America? What was it? Minecraft? Like the next.
Minecraft has always been big. I would say.
Yeah, but like from release.
From release.
Like Minecraft, then Fortnite. That's what I can think of.
Probably.
I'm pretty young though, so I don't know.
You know, there's so many games that come out a year, but Minecraft would be probably that.
And then before that, like League. CS:GO.
League, CS:GO.
And then since Fortnite, we haven't had anything, and it's been 6 years. Fortnite became 6 years old 2 days ago, so it's been 6 years without for real, without a title. You know, that's a pretty long time. I think. I don't know. I haven't been gaming too long.
Well, in game dev, it's
like,
not, but in human life, it is.
In any case, point well taken, Orangey. So you feel like there's real promise and hope in Web3 for at some point that next big thing that sort of takes the world by storm to emerge.
Well, there's nothing right now, so
yeah. Yes. I imagine you don't think it's necessarily coming in 2024. Is there anything you're looking out for in 2024 that you'd be like, okay, cool, like this is at least another Dookie Dash, something that feels like it's a step in the right direction. Like, all right, we're not getting the next Fortnite in 2024 out of Web3 gaming, probably. Like, we're still probably a number of years out from that. But, or maybe you don't agree. Maybe you think there is a potential for it in 2024. But there's something you feel like you could see next year that would give you hope.
Honestly, off the top of my head, not really. No, but that's just because like no one's. Zynga comes out this weekend. You know, I'm not a Farmville player, but. You know, they have a leaderboard that intrigues me. No matter like what the game is, I like leaderboards. I grind games with leaderboards. You know, they're really big in mobile and like they're a huge company, so that intrigues me. It's pretty close around the corner this weekend, so we'll see.
Jonah, how about you? What are you looking out for in 2024? Looking to see, and then talk to us a little bit about where your focus has been these days.
Yeah, so I like hearing what Orangey has to say because I don't think like a competitive gamer. I think like someone who's in the business of games, and competitive gamers are always at odds with the actual business of developing the games. It's just how it's always been, probably how it will always be, for good and for worse. I don't believe in franchising, FYI, so don't come at me for that.
Me neither.
I know you don't. No, you for sure don't. They don't. That's a whole other esports related thing. But I'm pretty well versed in Web 2 as I am in Web 3, and I believe them as just one industry. That's kind of how I read it. But there's a leaked email where Phil Spencer, the CEO of Microsoft Gaming, is talking to his constituents, and he says, well, first he's talking about which games he wants to acquire, irrelevant, but that AAA has a lot of issues and there's a lot of problems. And the main problem is, one, distribution, right? Game Pass is very expensive to manage. Very expensive to manage. I mean, they have 25 million plus subscribers a month, which is around 300 something million a month lost on a $70 title. Meaning, for example, Starfield just came out. If Starfield just released at a $70 ticket price without Game Pass, it probably would have, the assumption is without it, it would have made another 300 million. Now, the reason why that's a false assumption is that Game Pass helps market it. So it actually may have improved its sales. The bottom line is very expensive to run. So between a cost, development time, which now it takes almost 7 years to make a real AAA game, like a real one.
Why do you say that? Why is that?
Why?
Yeah.
Even so, this is a bunch. Here's an AI grift for you. I'll tell you. And most investors who know gaming know this, but most don't. So there's this grift that you'll see on LinkedIn and Twitter, and it's this. Because we have AI, games will be much faster, and games are going to just be explosive and all this stuff. The problem with that they forget to factor in is capitalism. And so what happens is with AAA games, if I'm Microsoft and I'm Sony, and we both have the same AI technology access, right now Microsoft has more of it, but let's say they did. I will then say, you know what, instead of just making a game using AI in 3 years, we're going to put more money into it. We're going to build an AI game, but it'll take 6 years or 7 years, but we're going to build a new type of AAA game. We call this the super AAA. This is a game that's even beyond the scope of what a normal AAA is, a true metaverse game.
But what takes that long? Is the
Development, because they're not only using AI, but they're hiring hundreds and hundreds of people to build a game, and it requires more render time, requires more depth. I mean, people wouldn't buy Starfield if they didn't say there was 1,000 planets, even though 1,000 planets are just dry, empty deserts that no one cares about, because players feel like they should get more for their money because they're paying an extra $10 for the MSRP price of the game, because we changed from 60 to 70 like over the course of 2 years. So now there's higher expectations. So all I'm saying is that AAA is in trouble, and it's going to have a reckoning, because it's like a game of House of Cards, right? You keep tacking on cards, making it bigger and bigger and bigger, and then something breaks. And that's what a lot of people in the industry are concerned about, which is why I'm excited about Web3 gaming, because one, the idea is that you have people that are closer adjacent to mobile than console, meaning they are accustomed to spending money, which means they can actually spend that money and reinvest it in like the game. The other side is that it hits a casual player base, right? For example, let's say Call of Duty Web3 had an activation with Aritzia, and if you got 5 kills over 4 days, they'll send you an Aritzia. I assume they do shirts, bags, I don't know.
Yeah,
shirts. So they do shirts. They're gonna because they have your KYC AML information. That's a whole other topic. Whatever. They have your information. They'll know based on your profile on your wallet that you had 5 or 6 kills or whatever the objective is. They send you the SBT to your wallet. They already have your address and shipping information, and in real time you get a shirt sent to your house for getting those kills. It comes up in a really cool envelope. It has a picture of your Call of Duty avatar wearing the shirt with like some little meme thing. And now the Web3 game is an advertising network that's much deeper than what we have in Web2. And you're gonna be like, I'd go play Call of Duty Web3 again. They gave me an Aritzia shirt. And you know what? I might go buy an Aritzia item because I already pay for a subscription there or something. That's something that does not exist in Web2 because the technical rails are not there yet. The last thing I'll say is, but they will be. So there was a Roblox developer conference happened 2 weeks ago. Dave Baszucki, the founder and CEO, genius guy. One of his big goals over the next 5 years is making most of these Roblox products work in physical distribution. So the idea is if you had a popular Adopt Me game in Roblox, or you had a fashion brand, you could release it with like the Roblox physical distribution hub, like maybe Roblox Walmart or something, sell it within their scope, get a cut of the physical sales and play the digital. And because you have an account with Roblox, now they have your same information that you had in Web3. So we're going into this world where instead of watching commercials, you're going to play the game. You're going to see an ad for a consumer brand, assuming it meets all the standards, and you're going to be shopping while playing the game. And I think that's going to be something that Web3 should really hone in on, because that is a 0 to 1 scenario that Web2 gaming does not have yet.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree. I mean, I think that cross collaboration between brands is something in all categories that is exciting about Web3. And this idea of like the way you can kind of, like you're giving the example of a game and Aritzia, but like you think about the way these brands can work together, you know, when they have holder bases and you can airdrop something to another brand's holder base. Like I think all of that gets really, really interesting and is where you start to get to a real use case that we haven't seen thus far.
I have a question.
Yes.
Jonah, you know the Fortnite Balenciaga skins?
Yeah.
What would you think if they priced the in-game skin at $1,000, but you also got a actual physical product.
I think people.
Is that like sort of what you're talking about?
I think that it depends on your demographic. I don't have their demographic data, but I would assume it skews younger. And when you have younger people, they have less budget for expensive things, which is why I think Web3 works, because there are adult games that adults have adult money for, which is why I like Web3.
So what do you think about like 100 Thieves and Gucci?
Yeah, well, I actually know the guy who did that campaign. And by the way, I went to his office in the UK. I saw the physical Gucci kit. Like, it was actually really cool. But Roblox, for whatever reason, has a different spending base than Fortnite. I think Fortnite would have to do it a couple times, fail 2 or 3 times, but eventually it would break through and people would find it interesting. So long answer, yes. Short answer, no in the immediate. Yeah, I think it would work.
Jonah, Orangey, thank you both so much for joining me today. This was awesome. A really interesting conversation. I appreciate your dynamic together. I appreciate you hopping on. This was a blast and would love to have you both back.
Sure, 100%.